So we're live. So again, thank you for hosting us tonight and bringing us all together. I think this is the fifth of the six, I can't remember which, that at least Doug Underhill and I have been in, and one less, I think, or maybe two, were specific to the Republican Party that Scott engaged with us in. But it's good to be here tonight, and I've got to kind of figure out how to make this work, so I'm going to have back to you folks here. But I'm Alan McMillan. And I'll take a few minutes to just give you a little bit about my background. I was born and raised here in Pensacola. I grew up on the very other side of Pensacola, what we back in those days called East Pensacola Heights, over on Bowers. And when we came to the Brownsville area, to some of the other great places over here, it was a journey back when I was a boy to come here. But what a great place Brownsville was then. What a great, incredible recovery Brownsville was making. All of us together to try to make it even more. Pensacola Junior College for a couple of years, then off to the University of Florida. I worked for my whole life for the federal government. I worked for the Department of Labor, worked for the Department of Defense. Went on to some private sector work at the presidency of the National City. Granting of $500,000 to the Patty Shipyard by the United States Department of Transportation and Maritime Administration, an investment program that they have for small shipyards to help them get more technology, more equipment, to increase their capacity, to create more jobs and better jobs in the shipbuilding industry. And it was incredible to be there with the folks at the shipyard that work there every day, and I've worked with them a lot over the last 3 or 4 years. You know, delighted to have the mayor there, and Jeff Gosh, the chairman of the council, the county commission was there, as long as some other dignitaries were there to celebrate this event. But the event was really about small employers here in Pensacola. You know, we talk about jobs, and I'm all into jobs, and I'll talk a lot about jobs. We talk a lot about jobs that we bring in from outside, but I oftentimes am concerned that we overlook sometimes the incredibly great small and mid-sized operations that we have right here in Pensacola and in Stanton County, like the Patty Shipyard, a 40-year-old small shipyard. One that's employed people for so many years and made so many great seagoing vessels that carry the Pensacola, Florida, Patty brand all over the United States and all over the world. So it was great to be with them today to talk about how we can reach out to a small local company and increase their capability, their jobs, that affect the families of all of us here in our community. Probably some of you know people at that shipyard. In fact, they've been in business for 40 years here in our local community. It affects us all, and that just was a wonderful, wonderful thing to be involved in today. I was proud to be a part of it. I'm not a commissioner yet, hope to be very soon, but it was good to see that that's what our government can do. That's what the county commission can do. We can work together with small companies and medium-sized companies to enhance their capability, to create better jobs and more jobs for our working families. That means better neighborhoods, better schools, and better quality of life for all of us. So that's a little bit about what I did today that I was very excited about, a little bit about my background. Thank you very much, and I'm delighted to be here with you tonight. Thank you.
Good, you got a cyber question.
It's funny, it says it's not responding and it's shouting away. I apologize.
Ms. Green, while we're waiting on that, do you mind if we move this back? Because I hate having people behind it. John, I know that's going to throw off your camera a little bit, but Amber's got legs. John, say way closer to this.
Sorry about that. Go ahead, Mr. John.
Hello, I'm Scott Charter, and I'm running for county commissioner. I want to thank Robert Hale and Sheila Green for inviting us here. Brownsville is really the center of Escambia County, and I can't think of any better place for us to have this morning. I want to just spend a few minutes telling you a little bit about myself. I'm going to see you here, so a lot of you might not be that familiar with me. I'm originally from Wichita, Kansas. Grew up my whole life there, very middle-class neighborhood. Back in 1992, I made the decision to join the United States Air Force, and I spent the next 21 years traveling around the country and around the world in the Air Force working as a financial manager. And when you think of the Air Force, you don't think of someone looking at spreadsheets all day, you think of airplanes, but that's what I did. I helped the Air Force manage their budgets. I did that in Iraq. I helped manage our DT operations budgets over there in Pakistan. I helped manage our anti-terrorism efforts over there. My last assignment, I was the Chief of Financial Operations at the Air Force's Test and Evaluation Center. So I have a lot of experience working with large, complex budgets with various sources of funding and keeping all that managed and tracking the spending and making priorities as far as which one's spend. So in some ways, that was good preparation for a job of county commissioner. While I was in the Air Force, I also got married to my wife, Sonia, who's not here tonight. She's watching our two young children at home. But we've been married for 22 years. And when I decided to retire, we had to decide where to go. And I had never lived here before. I lived on the Gulf Coast. I lived on Biloxi. I lived on the East Coast of Florida. But I knew I liked this part of the country. And I know I wanted to go to college, get my master's degree in history. And the University of West Florida has a great program, so we decided to take a chance at Pensacola. We came here and I really loved it. We're planning on staying here forever. I lived down in Warrington in a little brick house we bought for $39,000 4 years ago. And I'm hoping to stay in the house forever because I'm tired of living here. All right, so we got here, and when you're in the military, you don't really follow local politics that much because you know you're moving there every 2 years. But since I knew we were staying here, I started following it, and there was this guy named Doug Underhill, and I started following him. He seemed in touch with people, and I kind of liked him at first, but the more I followed him, I saw that I was troubled by some of the things I saw, but I still had no idea I would ever run for office. Started this year, on the 1st of January this year, I had no idea I was going to be doing this. My plan for this year was to finish my master's degree, to write my master's thesis on early segregation here in Pensacola, and to get a job teaching history in the local high school. But when I saw that no other Democrat was going to step up and run against them, I decided I wasn't working. I had an income, so I was retired military, and I had the ability to run against them, and I decided I was going to do it. So that's why I'm here. I think we need politicians that actually listen to people and not tell them what they think they need to know. Doug Underhill knows the issues better than I do. He's been in it up to his neck for the last 4 or 5 years, or at least 4 years. And, but my real strength is I'm going to listen to what you guys have to say, but not only tonight, but for the next 4 years. I see this as a joint venture. When I have the town hall, I'm not going to show up to tell you what you need to know. I'm going to show up to listen to what you guys have to tell me. And then if I have any other things, I'll take that also. I'm all about listening to people. Even if they disagree with me, I want to hear from people who think I'm an idiot. And I'm never going to call someone else an idiot. I'm never going to call them a communist or a fascist or anything. I wanted to hear what people have to say, because that's how we need to go. We need to listen to them. That's really all I got to say about myself. Here, I'll let Doug do this.
Thanks a lot, Scott. I won't run through and waste a whole lot of this time on this bio. One of the things about running for office as a military guy, in the military, you never say I and me. And the hardest thing to talk about is yourself. Now, I can talk about my mission, I can talk about my troops all day long. But talking about yourself, that's just not something we do very well. So the transition of trying to do that into the military politics has been challenging to say the least. My bio is available on askmyscamdia.com. I have been the district commissioner for the last 4 years. So, any of that kind of information, son of a Navy chief, grew up as a professional new kid, Navy brat, didn't really get it. If you ask me where you're from, that should be the easiest question in the world, right? It's a hard question for me because, traveling around the world and growing up the way that we did, brats coming in and out, okay? But I knew that, and I wouldn't change a thing, and my dad made great decisions with regard to that, but I knew that for my own children, I wanted them to be able to answer that question, where are you from? So for my children growing up, it's always been, where are you from? Pensacola. And no matter where they go in their lives and whatever they do, they will always know that this is home because they were born and raised in Pensacola. Now, I had no real expectations of running for office. My expectation was when I got off of active duty, I'd be done with that service and just be able to spend some time just hanging out with the kids and doing my thing. As it turns out, the government doesn't teach you how to lead so that you can just hang out and do your own thing. When they teach you those things, they teach you those things with the expectation that you can give back. The military, and people always say when they walk up to see me in uniform, they're like, yeah, thanks for your service. And of course, they're always gracious about it, but it's the weirdest thing for me because I know that the Navy and this nation gave me so much more than I ever gave it. So the real answer when people say thank you for your service is just thanks for the opportunity to serve this nation. Because that's far beyond anything that I could hope to do and that I worked in my time in other government service or trying to run up. What's really important though is not really who I am, but really an understanding of what's taken place in the last 4 years. Now I came into office because I just couldn't tolerate the divisiveness of the past. Okay? As I run around Escambia County and I talk to people, we all get along for the most part. Certainly things that divide us, but we all, for the most part, get along. But when we start talking about local politics, especially in District 2, it was neighborhood versus neighborhood. Well, Perdido Key gets everything. Or south of Barrancas, they get everything, and nobody cares about this up here. Nobody cares about that up there. But what was strange for me to hear people talk like that is that that's not what I personally heard from people out in Perdido. People on Perdido said, we would actually like to get a lot less attention, thank you very much. And what people on Perdido told me was, you know what, if you want to raise Escambia County, don't be putting your money into Perdido Key. Put your money into places like Brownsville and Warrenton and Mayfair. Because we cannot raise up Escambia County to be what we know it can be unless we can raise up Brownsville, Mayfair, and Warrenton to be what we know they can be. That's how we get success and that's how we move forward. So that's what, realizing that that's what the people were looking for made me run. I ran for office, had a very, very good campaign and an excellent victory. And as soon as I came into office, one of the first people that I ended up meeting on the 4th floor was Commissioner Mack, who very generously came over and said, and he walked in, by the way, late as usual. We just go ahead and get started because we know you can wait until it starts.
I knew the same thing.
So you heard this story before. But Commissioner May comes over and he says, look, a lot of folks in Brownsville are accustomed to District 3 taking care of District 2 and the issues there in Brownsville. And the same kind of goes for Mayfair and parts of Warrenton. They're really accustomed to District 3 taking care of that. He says, just let me know and I'll take care of those things. And I was like, man, Lumen, I appreciate that. That really makes sense. But that's not how I just cannot do that. What I need to do is I need you to show me how to serve those communities as good as I serve where I'm from. Okay? That's what changed the dynamic 4 years ago. Commissioner May and Commissioner Berry had always had a solid 2 votes for shutting down Rolling Hills. The 2 votes, this is Commissioner Matt, folks, 2 equals 0 and 3 equals 5. Commissioner May always had consistent 2 votes. The day after I got elected, there was a 3rd consistent vote for shutting down Rolling Hills. We changed the paradigm at that point. Things changed in the way that we do things. From that point forward, when something would happen in someplace like Forest Creek, which historically the District 2 Commissioner didn't take care of, Commissioner May didn't just go take care of it. Commissioner May called me. And we talked about the best way to handle it, and we handled it. Brownsville, historically, was kind of this poor border town stuck in the middle of 2 districts. But the new paradigm is that Brownsville has already got 2 commissioners. All we need to get is 1/3 vote. And between the 2 of us, we can always do that. So we see a new paradigm in life here, and that's why you have seen the Brownsville issues start to get much better taken care of. Thanks.
Thank you, gentlemen. I believe Commissioner Banger walked in after we were Okay, from the floor, gentlemen, the first question is, there are businesses who want to move to the area that would bring revenue and people to this area. But they are concerned about the drug sales, prostitution, and safety issues. These activities also affect businesses already here. What will you do to remove these problems? Understand the question?
So who's first?
Who should go first?
Well, let's go, sir.
So, yes, for businesses to be attracted to an area, to Brownsville, they want to make sure that they're going to have an opportunity to be successful. They want to have a neighborhood that is the kind of a place they want to be in terms of safety and infrastructure and all the things that they need for them to be successful. And so our job, and that's a big collective our job, people who live here and the people in your government who represent you. And it's all of government. It's not just the county commission, it's the sheriff's department, it's the school board, all of that. All of us collectively together have to work with the neighborhood to make the neighborhood the kind of place that companies want to come to, big or small, want to come to. It's a big, huge collective effort where we have to work together. One of the things that I've learned in my lifetime, and you'll probably hear me say it several times this evening, is that you never get anything done by yourself. You only get things done by working together as a group. I've been successful in doing that, bringing people together, bringing the best thoughts, the best ideas together, listening to them. It's not tribal set. You will not find me the kind of commission that's going to come in and sit down and tell you how to run your neighborhood or how to run your community. What I will do is I will be passionate about trying to bring together all the moving parts to work with you in the community to make the community the kind of community you want it to be and to attract the kind of businesses that you want to be. And that's another key thing. It's not just any business that you want to be here. You want the right kind of businesses. You want them to be compatible with what you do have as the vision for your Brownsville community. So it starts a little bit with planning and then taking plans and beginning to move them forward and then executing them. So my goal would be to listen a lot and to be a passionate person to help make it all happen.
All right. Brownsville has a lot going for it, but just like when a person's trying to decide what they want to move, businesses kind of look for the same sort of thing. They want to know that the infrastructure in that area is good. But more than anything, probably the one thing holding Brownsville back is safety, particularly with crime, but then also just generally safety, both the reality and the perception. So we need, that has to be our total focus for Brownsville. We need to increase lighting in the neighborhoods. We need neighborhood watch associations. I'm not sure if there is one in Brownsville. I tried to look that up. I couldn't find any evidence of it, but maybe there is. I'm not sure. We need to work with the sheriff's office. I know the Brownsville revitalization plan talks about a sheriff's office substation. I'm not sure if that's practical or not, but it's something worth looking at. We need to involve the community. We need to go out and try to identify people that want to be involved, that want to stand up and be community leaders and engage with them. Go out and seek them out and encourage them to become leaders in the neighborhood so that we can start moving in the right direction, to get eyes on what's going on, keep us informed, keep the sheriff's office informed, and basically try to change the perception of Brownsville so that both businesses and people start to think of it as a place where they can live, where they can work, where they can do business.
The government's job at the local level is very simple. It's about public safety and infrastructure. Public safety and infrastructure. Those are the two things that we as county commissioners can take care of for you. The rest of it you take care of for yourself. Folks, what kind of a grade would you give the Board of County Commissioners on public safety and infrastructure here in Brownsville over the years? Pretty sure it's going to be fairly low. We have not invested in the public safety and infrastructure here in Brownsville in places like Warrenton and Mayfair as well, the way that we should have over the years. So we've got a deferred maintenance issue, okay? That's what happens when you don't take care of things, take care of maintenance over time, you end up with a deferred maintenance issue. It doesn't just go away magically or take care of itself magically. That means if you don't take care of it today, tomorrow it's going to cost you twice as much. Now some of you are sitting there going, man, this is an incumbent talking about what they're not doing. You're darn right. I'm being as honest with you now as I was the first day, as honest as I was the last day. I will be the last day that I'm a commissioner. But let's look at the last 4 years. We got a community center. Okay? We started talking about Brownsville in terms of what it could be, not what it was. So I don't know about, or change the perception of Brownsville. There's a lot of people who have those kind of negative impressions of the West Side. I'm not really trying to impress them. Okay? They're losing out. Because the reality is that those of us who live on the West Side know that the West Side has more texture, it has more fabric, deeper fabric, than a lot of other places that you could ever live. Okay? We built a community center. We tore down 3 of the no-tell motels on Cervantes. All right? So we can sit here and we can talk about what we're working together. Oh, we need to tear down the no-tell motels because we know what's going on there. Okay? We know where the drugs are being done. Okay, but you cannot really hold the Escambia County Sheriff's Office at a high standard when you're funding them at a low standard. I am the only commissioner that backed the sheriff's budget from the very first day until we finally got an appropriate budget. But let me tell you something, folks. We need to have enough deputies on the street to prevent crime by just being there. Okay? We need to have those deputies well trained, and they need to be skilled. And I did not plan on Sheriff Morgan at that moment. We need to have enough deputies that when your deputy is on the street, he's properly paid, he's properly trained, and he's not wiped out tired because he's working 3 jobs. The deputies on the street need to be doing a lot more than just reacting to crimes, but you can't do that if you're not paying enough to put enough deputies on the street. Thank you.
Perfect timing. Thank you, Commissioner.
I'd like to, we have a rebuttal opportunity.
Yes.
I'd just like to make a few more comments about Commissioner Hill's comments. I don't agree that I see the job of the county commission exactly as he articulated, public safety and infrastructure only. I see the job of the county commissioner, if I'm your representative, to represent you in all of the issues that you're concerned about. Now, there's certain things that clearly he's right about that county commission has more direct authority on to take action. But I think that the role of the county commissioner is much bigger than that. My role will be much bigger than that. I'll be your advocate for what you as a neighborhood want to do. And you've got a lot of people in here today that are great people that will also, I think, work with me to be an advocate. We've got representatives of the school board, we've got ECUA in here, we've got Commissioner Bay in here, we've got the Sheriff's Department in here, we've got the other parts of the puzzle that go together to make it work. So my view of being the commissioner is that I'm your advocate for all of that, even though I may only have direct responsibility statutorily for certain pieces of it. My job would be, as I would see it, is to work with you on all the things that you want me to make Brownsville the kind of place you want it to be.
Thank you. The next question is from several people, and I think it all kind of go together. What is the criteria for the cleaning, keeping, fixing streets on the Dogwood area, the Montclair area, and Star Circle? It says very dark. There's nowhere to walk. On the sidewalks, it's pitch black, dark, and they want to know what can you do about that? What are your plans to lighten up some of the side streets?
Yeah, I think increased lighting in residential neighborhoods needs to be one of our top priorities for the county government. That addresses a lot of issues. That addresses crime. As far as paving the streets, we need to work with. The county commission doesn't do anything. All we do is sit around and talk to people. It's the county employees that do stuff. So we're a conduit between the people who live there and the county government. So if there's street issues, anything, I wanted to know about it. concerns. But absolutely, neighborhood lighting is absolutely crucial. I live down in Warrington, neighborhood very similar to this neighborhood, but we have regular street lighting throughout the neighborhood, and we have much less crime now. So I think that's an absolutely crucial thing.
I think obviously we're going to always give the same answer. So yeah, we need more street lights, we need better roads. But here's the deal. Until somebody is willing to cut something from the budget and pay for those things, they're nothing but political advertisements. And we've been getting political advertisements for years and years and years. The reason that those communities don't get streets at the same rate that everybody else does is because they're just not as powerful politically. They're just not as strong. Okay? But it's not just them. It's not just your neighborhoods that's not hitting it. Our roads are decaying at $17 million a year. Okay? If we replace our roads at the right rate, it's cost $17 million a year. In our budget, we're only spending $5 million a year on roads because we've got to spend money on other things like Florida West and all these other things where somebody's got their hand in the pot. The reason that your roads aren't getting done is because we're running out of money, because we're trying to do everything and be everything to everybody. I can understand the idea of wanting to be an advocate for all things, but if I'm not doing my basic job first, does it matter how many favors I can do for you? We don't have enough money to be everything for everybody, but we do have enough money right now without raising your taxes to take care of our public safety and infrastructure, but only if we focus on those things first. Mayfair, Brownsville, Warrington. If you want our infrastructure here to increase, the question isn't what are you going to do, it's what are you going to stop doing with our money, the money that should be spent for the infrastructure in communities like this one right here.
Well, again, complex issues, and we all going to agree, as you just heard, that we need more lights and we need more sidewalks in neighborhoods. Where I think I'm going to differ with Commissioner Underhill is on what to do about it. Yes, it's going to take money, but I think it's time for us to stop making the west side the last piece of Escambia County. It's time for those who you elect to stand up for the west side. We're doing a lot of great things around this Escambia County. We're doing great things in Beulah and around Navy Federal and Olive Road, and all those are great things. I'm not trying to take anything away from those. But it's time to focus on the west side. Warrington, Brownsville, Mayfair, and
Doug's talking about we need to spend more money on infrastructure, but he's also supporting spend $20 million in traffic circles in Pensacola Beach. He's wanting to buy more land out of Pensacola on Perdido Key for public access, and we already have land out there we could be using. He's talked about putting bridges over the railroad tracks. He wants to spend $12 million more a year on surfacing roads, but somehow magically he's not going to raise taxes. He's been commissioner for 4 years, and we still have these problems. So I ask him.
I guess there's going to be a rebuttal on that. The bottom line is that you absolutely are going to have to make decisions, and you have to say no to somebody because you cannot say yes to everybody. And remember, every time that we say yes, it's not with our money, it's with your money.
Yeah.
Yes, I have been your commissioner for 4 years, and you've seen progress in this area, in this community, like you have not ever seen before.
Yeah.
About raising taxes until I can look you each and every one in the face and I can tell you that I am using the tax money that I already have the way that I'm supposed to. This is the parable of the talents, guys. You all know this. You cannot expect to be blessed more when you are not using the blessings that you already have properly. So no, we're not going to have a discussion about raising taxes. There may come a time when we have to. But that time is going to be when we've squeezed every last bit of blood out of that turnip that we're already taking out of your pockets. Your money is much spent in your community than coming downtown to 221 South Halifax, where we can guarantee we're going to get 10 cents out of every dollar we spend.
I also will not raise the taxes. I won't ever say, like one of our famous ex-presidents did, read my lips. There could be rare, extenuating circumstances in an emergency where something might need to be done. Let me be very clear. I will not raise your taxes to do the kinds of things we're talking about here. We can use the current money that we have better. And the real issue is to grow our economy. That's our issue. Grow it. And we grow it, be smart about how we grow it. If we grow it smart with good plans, we hold new businesses that come in here, if we give them incentives to come, accountable for what they're going to get. If we have a plan for infrastructure that goes with the road, then I think, as a voter would say, a rising tide raises all boats. So one of the things we need to do is not talk about ever raising our taxes for the things we're talking about outside of dire and extreme emergencies that befall our community. What we should be talking about is how we're going to grow our community, how we're going to increase the pot for everybody and use it smartly to do the things that we need.
I raise a family of 4 people with $30,000 a year. That's not easy. You have to know how to make decisions. You have to know when you need something and when you want something. You have to make tough decisions. We have a TV that back when he was a 3-year-old, had a meat tenderizer to. And God bless Samsung, they make great TVs. It actually still works pretty good, but it's not like it used to. We're still using that TV because it works. Well, I'll use it a couple more years before we get something. I know about making hard decisions. As far as property taxes, we have a budget of nearly $500 million a year. $1 billion. That's enough. We don't need to raise taxes. I will make one caveat. There is a ballot initiative in November that will increase the homestead exemption. If that passes, that's going to have a serious hit on our budget. We cannot afford a tax cut. We need to leave the funding where it is now. If that passes, then I most likely would support an increase that would basically offset that. So it wouldn't necessarily be a tax increase, but it would be a reshuffling of the taxes so we can keep our budget where it is. All right, thank you.
I feel like somebody hit rewind on the political discourse for the last 20 years, because I've been hearing this rising tide lifts all boats for the last 2 booms. And now we're talking about now it's Brownsville's time. Was there ever a time that a politician would have stood here and said that anything other than now it's Brownsville's time? Because we've been hearing this same garbage for a long time. When we had the boom time and out on the beaches and all that growth was happening, what they say, rising tide lifts all boats. How's that boat in Brownsville doing? Did we get ours here in Brownsville? I don't think we did. And now we're talking about another boom time as Beulah grows and we've got 80 Federal going in and we've got all this stuff going in. Where is the time when it lifts the Beulah boat? We haven't seen it. And it's because we keep buying into the same rhetoric. If it's time now, then it should have also been time when my Republican opponent voted to spend $17 million of your dollars on OLF 8, an empty field out in Beulah. That's going to create all these jobs for Beulah. And a lot of people in Beulah are saying, we really don't want that. At the same time, Commissioner May's been saying for at least 4 years, probably a lot longer before that, give me just 5 jobs in my district. Show me just 5 jobs. Where are they? The big Triumph money. We're all talking about how excited we are about Triumph money. Not a single Triumph project has been proposed by the powers that were here, in Mayfair, in Warrenton. It's all out at the next boom time. Okay? We're tired of that. We've got to get off of that dialogue. And we have to start getting serious about, get away from this rhetoric of the rising tide lifts all boats. Let's focus on what needs to be done. Public safety and infrastructure, the core issues in the core of the district, which is right here where you're sitting tonight.
I have 2 points. I was on the Restore Committee, and I voted very highly for your project. The Restore Committee of volunteers, 25 commissioners, who don't get any money and don't have any power to spend money. They did what they were asked to do, which was to rank the projects. And then the commissioners make the decision. They didn't elect the officials. I want to make that point. The second point I want to make is there are always things that are nice to do. There are things that are important, critically important to do. We talked about 1 or 2 of those right here in this particular question about sidewalks and lights and things like that. You have to run on your record of what you've done in the 4 years. And a couple of years ago, Mr. Underhill used a large part, not all of his discretionary funds, to fund, partial fund, a skateboard park. Now that's not a nice thing to do. I'm not against skateboard parks. But I would have probably rather use that money to put lights in a neighborhood with high crime that needed it than to put it here.
Thank you. I would rather ask the person, or the people who want the sidewalks, the lights, and we can't get businesses to create additional taxes. What can we do to create money, find money to do the parks? And I guess you just answered your question, Commissioner Underhill. When can we find money next week, next month, next year to do something about the street lights, the streets, the sidewalks?
You got to defund something. You've got to decide what's more important than that. Now, yeah, you got to run on my record, no question about it. Great community center down the road, 700 street lights up in Myrtle Grove. Why? Because the people in Myrtle Grove said make it happen, and we pushed forward and got that. Okay? More septic sewer conversions taking place in District 2 than all the rest of the county put together. Thank you very much, Ms. Lois Benson. That's what teamwork really looks like on the ground. Why is septic sewer important? Any business owner knows that. You don't want to be running a business and have to worry about septic tanks. Our commercial districts here on the west side still have septic tanks. I mean, this boat ain't getting lifted, folks. We're not doing it at the rate that it needs to happen. We can defund things, and you know what? My opponent here has brought up the discretionary fund. I like to call it a slush fund. Okay? That's the first thing we need to defund. $250,000 of your money we get to spend on stuff we don't need. I have been proposing and trying every single budget year, and I will continue to try to get rid of that $250,000. The next place we need to go is Florida West. We're going to be talking a little bit about economic development here in a bit, so I'm sure that we'll have an opportunity to get onto that a little bit more. We have to defund something. If we don't defund something in order to pay for the things that we promise, then what you're getting is an empty promise. An empty promise in a political season. So you can put that in your pipe and smoke it for a minute, folks. If you can't tell me what you're going to defund, then you're not going to actually build the things you say you're going to build.
Doug brought up a great point about getting people off septic systems, especially in an urban area like this. We shouldn't have anybody on a septic system. He voted to do away with the CRA grants to help pay for people to connect to it. You can put in the source, but people can't afford to connect to it. It's not going to do anything. Now, he recently reversed that now that he's running for re-election. But we need to keep those grants going, both for commercial and for residential, that help increase property value, help businesses grow. We need to put our money where our mouth is. I can't tell you what I'm going to cut it because I haven't gone line through line like he has on the budget. But there's fluff in there that we can root out to get. I mean, streetlights aren't a major investment. They cost money, but we can come up with that money. We'll have to cut some. He's right. We're going to have to cut something. It's not going to be much of it. But we can get it done as a program.
Speaking of budget, what will be the first thing that you do have? Mr. Driver.
I didn't quite get the question.
On the budget, when you do get your budget, because I know when you have your budget, what would be the first thing that you plan on cutting?
All right, this doesn't exactly answer the question because, again, I haven't gone through the budget process. I haven't seen every line of the budget. But I know there's some people down in Warrenton in my neighborhood, Jason knows about this, who want to see the Navy Corps or beautification upgrades. I think that's something that's probably not a top priority. I drive on that every day. There's probably some improvements we can do for safety, but I don't think we need a lot of beautification projects. We need to really focus on the key things like getting people out, septic systems, crumbling bridges, street lights for safety, reducing crime. That needs to be our focus, not beautification projects.
If you haven't been through the budget, how can you know what you're going to be able to promise? As politicians, we always overpromise and underdeliver. For the last 4 years, out of your District 2 Commissioner, you've gotten underpromise and overdeliver. And that's what you're going to get for another 4 years if I have the distinct honor of continuing to serve you. What will I cut? I've already said the first thing we've got to get rid of is that discretionary fund. It sets the wrong tone. It tells the staff in every department and every outside agency that, hey, it's okay. I mean, times are good. Go ahead and we got ours, you get yours, that kind of thing. First thing I would defund is that slush fund because it does not set the right standard. Second thing is Florida West. Florida West spends $550,000 of our money, $150 grand of the city's money, and $40 grand of ECUA's money every year, ostensibly to create jobs. Hasn't created a job in 3 years. Okay? Hadn't created a job on the west side, and I don't even know if they know where the west side is. Okay? It's great that my opponent was able to get a grant for Joe Patty's shipyard. I mean, where is the money? I mean, is that really what we call a small business here in Brownsville? That might be a small business in D.C., but that's a pretty big business. Where is the grant money to assist a small business here in Brownsville? Why don't we just take half? Let's take half of the money that we send to, that we give to Florida West every year, $550,000, let's take $250,000 of that, and let's make that available for small businesses to do things that will grow jobs, real jobs. I am tired of spending your money chasing unicorns in European air shows, trying to find a unicorn that's going to come back here and open up and create jobs. I don't need to chase unicorns in Europe, folks. I got thoroughbreds right here in Escambia County. We need to unleash the business community here and put them to work. And we will actually see a return on investment for the money that we have historically spent on Florida West.
It would be a little difficult for Scott trying to answer what would be cutting the budget as it relates to our lack of having hands-on experience working with the budget. We were running for the office for the first time. So I appreciate what you said about that. But clearly, governments of all sizes and shapes, whether they're here or Washington or Tallahassee or wherever, generally have an insatiable appetite to grow their budgets and grow programs. And so it gets down to the end of the day, difficult and tough choice. And I think we've all said that in one way or the other. And it gets down to trying to separate the need to do things versus the nice to do things. So I'm glad to hear that we're spending a lot of money on septic tanks here in this area because it's so dadgone long overdue that we're doing that. And I also want to just correct the record. It wasn't Joe Patty's Seafood, it was Frank Patty's Shipyard, and I think the size of that workforce is about a fourth of the seafood company. I think it's probably about 35 or 40 people. It is a small business. In the shipyard world, it's a tiny, tiny small shipyard business. So, and it is in our backyard. It is a great thing to take out that grant.
Thank you.
Rebuttal time? The budget is public record. The budget from last year is public record, and the year before that, and the year before that. How can you be running for office for 18 months and you haven't taken the time to look at the one document that is the most important thing? There's a reason that we won't say what we're going to cut. Politicians won't say what they're going to cut. And actually at the Republican Executive Committee, when we had our debate there, my challenger said why. He said, everything has a tell you right now, Commissioner May, really, he utilizes his $50,000 every year on very important things in his district. He is a supporter of keeping the discretionary funds, okay? And he's argued with me pretty emphatically about that on the days. With Commissioner May sitting here in the room, I'm arguing for something that I know a guy in the room doesn't want. Here's what you got to remember, folks. Tonight, we're here in Brownsville. But every day, we're down there at 221 South Halifax. What kind of promises are we making down there? If you won't say what you're going to cut in front of the person that you're cutting, then you're not going to cut anything, which means there isn't going to be any money for these things that people keep telling you they're going to do.
There you go again. Generalize it like crazy. You want to be posturing, and what I said that the Republicans have to do is everything has a constituency, and that's why it is so difficult to make cuts. Everything that you cut has people who are in support of those programs. That's not to say you don't cut them if they're not needed, if they're the lowest priority to cut. I didn't say you don't cut because everything has a constituency. I said it's very difficult.
Doug likes to talk a lot about the discretionary fund. We can do away with it, but most of that money gets spent on useful things. So if you cut the discretionary funding, that doesn't necessarily mean you're not spending money on it. It's just getting budgeted through the regular budget. He's also accused the other commissioners, without any evidence, of using it to buy votes. Most of those projects are going for useful things. So this is, again, Doug Underhill, talking big, making lots of accusations without any actual evidence of that.
Thank you. This is a question directly towards Commissioner Underhill. It's a two-part question that's related. One of the respondents says, you ran for office the first time because you did not like the diversity politics. Your slogan is people over politics, yet you call district 2 citizens pathetic. And of course the second person says, why do you call people names and use social media to tear them apart?
So when I said people over politics, that's exactly what you've actually seen. Politics is what takes place down on Halifax Street, where they carve up the turkey and hope there's maybe some bones left over for the west side. Okay? The average politician is going to sit here and try to parse out everything and figure out a landing point, and a good politician figure out a landing point doesn't upset anybody. Okay? I am not ever going to be that person for you. I cannot do that. If that's what you're looking for in a politician, that is not who I am. What I can do is I can tell you exactly what I'm going to cut, for example. I can tell you exactly what needs to be done. If somebody says something or does something that doesn't make any sense, I'm going to say, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to sit here and kiss your butt. I'm not going to sit here and tell you things that I know to not be true. It's just not who I am. Okay? And I will also tell you that I'm a person who raised my right hand and I swore an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. Protect and defend are action verbs. I will never protect and defend the Constitution with anything less than the full measure of my life and my soul. Okay? That is just, it is not something that I physically have the capability of doing, nor would I do it if I did. Okay? Because you have to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. Aren't you tired of the Board of County Commissioners to fall for everything? Like we can run a jail cheaper? Like we can build I can't even go through all of the different things that we fall for. And we're talking about another one now with this Alcoa thing. We need to sign that contract now or we're going to lose it. Every single time. And I've heard commissioners using the terms, well, I just held my nose and voted. Folks, we can't do that. It takes courage to do this job. That comes with the courage to sometimes upset people. You have to be willing to do it. Because the truth will oftentimes not be very popular among those who profit from the lies.
Also address this issue. Kentucky is a critical issue. Let's don't for one moment mistake courage or rudeness. Let's bring this community together. Let's don't divide. Let's don't call the downtown gang versus the west side gang. This crowd versus that crowd. Let's do not demean people on social media or on the podium. Let's have a government that is respectful of the people that they want to serve. When he told people that the marching for reasonable gun control, he was talking to me because I was one of those people down there marching for reasonable gun control. Before I was a candidate, he's called me a liar, he's called me shooting a break down the conversation, he's called me a communist. When I was just a regular constituent. You can be truthful. You can tell someone they're wrong. You can tell someone they have the facts wrong. You don't talk to people. You guys are the boss. We're trying to get hired for a job. You don't sit and talk like that to your boss.
We definitely need to talk about the social media. One of the interesting things that's happened in our government is somehow the elected officials have found themselves very comfortable separating themselves from the people. And so all you get is the talking points. Whatever talking points that elected official wants you to have at that particular time. I have made a very conscious decision that I will remain accessible to anybody, anytime, on any subject. And folks come up to me at church, folks come up to me at the Winn-Dixie, folks come up to me anywhere and say, hey, what about this? You're going to get a straight answer. And it's my job to be informed enough to give you a straight answer. It's not I can't sit here and say no comment. It is my job to be accessible to you, and it is my job to give you an answer that I know to be true when I tell you. I cannot always tell you what you want to hear. And I am not going to polish it into a perfectly acceptable talking point before I deliver it to you. I will give you the unvarnished truth about our budget and about crime and about the issues here in San Diego. Because the unvarnished truth is the ultimate act of respect.
Majority of the people here live in this particular area. They live in the Brownsville area, Mayfair, off Jackson Street. So they are very concerned about exactly what are you going to do in this particular area, because they see what's going on around them. So these are some of the questions that they're asking. What are your plans for this area to get the trash picked up on the streets? I see the same trash per month on the same streets. How would Brownsville go about to have the Brownsville market? We want to bring different markets in this particular area. We don't want to be pushed aside. And the last one, if you were elected, what would be your first #1 goal for this particular area?
It's probably my time to go first on that. So, as I said a little bit earlier, I think the key to having a good elected representative is one that is going to come and listen to you. So the first thing that I would do is what I've been doing for the last month, is I've been going out, meeting people, talking to people. I've had the fortunate experience of talking about me on now over 1,000 people. And it is a humbling and wonderful experience to talk to people where they live about what are the things that concern them. So I would try to do that without any longer on one for a time, but do it in groups. So I would meet with the neighborhood associations. If they don't have associations, I would try to give them the resources to help them come together and form some sort of neighborhood group or association. So that they can collectively look at their own issues, talk about the things that are most important to them. And if garbage is the most important thing in all in some of the neighborhoods where that is a big issue, then I would begin, like I said, it may not be within the confines of the county commissioner's direct authority. I would sit down with the CPA, I would sit down with the appropriate officials, and I would be there at it. I would say, we've got to correct this issue, we've got to address it, and I wouldn't stop until we got a resolution to the issue that met the needs of the people that live there. So the first thing I would do is start to meet the people in groups, personally myself, and then the second thing I do is I'm always listening to them, and I'm really together to find all the resources that we need to try to address the issue that are the most important. As they prioritize their issues, not as I prioritize their own.
purview is increasing lighting in residential neighborhoods. I think that has to really be a top priority. In general, get back to the first question we had tonight, increasing both the reality and the perception of safety in Brownsville. That has to be the #1 District 2 priority. Not the #1 Brownsville priority, but District 2 priority. Some of the things that we're talking about are really outside of what the county commission do directly. I would like to see ECUA increase their, they go around and have days where you fill out anything. I think Brownsville needs to probably be done more often than some of the other neighborhoods. I get that's outside the county commission purview, but that's a recommendation. Bringing a market to Brownsville, there's probably a little bit about how much the county commission do about that. I do see that as a need, though. We need supermarkets in all the neighborhoods. If there's any way we could encourage that, I would definitely be open to it, but I'm not sure if that's true.
The answer to the question about what I'll do for the next 4 years is I will continue on the path that we've been on for the last 4 years. I'm proud that we've got a community center here in Brownsville finally. But you know what? We don't have the programming that was supposed to go along with it in place just yet. It's just a community center and a building. It's the people inside that make the community part of the community center. Now, Commissioner May made it very clear when we were putting all that money into the construction that he wanted to see that programming taking place. Well, the programming is kind of lagged behind a little bit, so we need to make sure that we get that tied up. I was surprised to find out that the staff member that we hired for the programming here in Brownsville had set up an office at the community center out in Perdido Key. He doesn't have that office anymore. I'm not sure why it happened. I don't think it was his fault. I think he was told to do it by somebody. And again, I really didn't care why it happened. I just wanted it to stop and get that person in here. In the very next meeting that we had, I made it a point to let Commissioner May know that what I had found out. But see, we don't get a chance to talk to each other off the dais about the things that we're going to come before us before we're going to vote. So if you think that you want to see commissioners who are always getting along up there on the dais, that only means that they've already solved their problems. They've already worked out all the hard part. Okay? Because no 5 people are ever going to agree on everything.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Can I say one more thing?
Okay, all right.
One deserves some credit for the communities. He supported it. I would have supported it as well. Funny thing though is when he talks about it, the first thing that was out is always how much he paid for it, how much we overpaid for it. It doesn't seem to actually support it when he did it, so he gets credit for it. But I don't know. It seems odd that instead of taking credit for it, his first thing out of his mouth is always, oh, we paid so much money for it. Oh, we got taken on that deal. Oh, it seems like,
That's because I'm not a cheerleader. It is my job to oversee every single penny that we spend because it's your pennies. We took it out of your pocket. And just like that last vote that we had in which we raised your taxes, we don't actually talk to you about it before we do it. I'm tired of that. Every penny we spend, it's not enough to me to just build a community center. It's not enough to me that we've got a community center here. And no, I did not take a victory lap on that. Scott's absolutely right. Because the work's not done yet. It's not time for a victory lap. It's time for a victory lap when every young man and woman who is born in this area, grows up here in Brownsville, has a center that they can go to, where their parents know they're safe when they're there, where they can get somebody, a mentor, or somebody who can help them achieve their dreams. It's not enough to me that there's just a building there, and it's not appropriate how much money we spend to get to where we're at. I will always be a hawk with your money, because I would want the person who's here doing this job to be a hawk with my tax money.
Thank you.
And again, I'm trying to say these are the ways in which you as the voters ought to see us as candidates, to see where we are as similar, to see where we are different. So I disagree with you again. I think that you can be an accountable, good, strong manager, and you can be a great cheerleader at the same time. You the job, I think, of a good leader, is that they not only hold people accountable, get things done, but they celebrate it. They have a party, they bring people together. They talk about what we've done collectively and how it'll make us feel good so we can go out and do other great things together like that.
Since you're on a roll there, got a person here. How will you partner with the new mayor to revitalize Brownsville?
There we go. Brownsville is a jewel of Pensacola and Sweeney County. And it will be a jewel in the future that's even brighter than this one. But it's going to take a lot of effort on everybody's part to make that dream and that realization come true. And I'll talk a little bit about that in the earlier response I made. I think first and foremost, the dream of Brownsville starts here. It starts with you guys. What's your dream of Brownsville? Not what is mine. I would have one, but it's less important than what is yours. And then the next part of that is, once we know what our dream is, how do we plan for it? What's our timeline? What's our cost to do it? Who are the players that have got to be brought together? You can't do it by yourself. Brownsville can't do it by itself. And their elected commissioner, or Brownsville case, both commissioners, Lee Ray and have to come together. But they got to bring a lot of partners. So it's going to take a lot of effort. What I'm going to tell you is, I'm going to devote the energy to do that. I'm going to devote the energy and the passion to meet with the people of Brownsville and say, tell us what your dreams are and how you want your community to be. I'm going to work with you on what you want to do, and I'm going to be an unbelievable, passionate person to try to get those dreams brought to reality. Not in 8 years, not in 2 terms, but let's do it now.
Second part to it, another person goes with it. This is actually a 2-part question. One call on how you partner with the mayor of Pensacola. How would you encourage economic development in Brownsville? 2-part question now.
Well, again, I think economic development has got to be part of making Brownsville what it needs to be. It won't be the great Brownsville that we want. It won't be the dream that you will have without having economic development. You've got to have that. And part of that is not just county, and the other big partners we talk about is the city of Pensacola as well. Whether it's working on road safety, whether it's working on building a senior center over here, which I will point out that just a couple of weeks ago, Commissioner Blunt was the lone no vote of all 41 votes to deed that X Street over, that one block of X Street over, so we can make that into a senior center. So economic growth is going to have to be a part of the great Brownsville today and tomorrow, and keeping it a great Brownsville. Because they're always work in progress. They're never always done. You think they're done and they're going downhill already. You stay on top of it, and the nucleus of it all is the people who live here and the people they elect to represent them. See, again, it's not going to be about me, it's going to be about you. And so that's what you do. You get to the you part, and you bring all these partners that are around this room now. We got a couple of mayor candidates sitting over here that I saw last night, and you get those people also engaged in it, and you get the whole team together. Then we'll make Brownsville the dream that people here want.
Well, I think our next mayor is probably in the room. One of these two gentlemen. Whoever it is, you know, I spent 21 years in here. Mostly working with Republicans, working with people from farms, Montana, people from all over, people from Vegas. I can get along with anybody. I know how to find common ground, find areas where we can agree, and then move forward from there. Whoever the next mayor is, whoever the other commissioners are, whoever's on the city council, I'll work with them. Really, most of the issues we're dealing with here aren't partisan issues anyway. So I'm always going to put it ideas. I'm going to talk to the people that live in this area. small business owners, the residents, the other politicians that have authority over this area, and I will work with them.
Thank you. Commissioner, I don't know how you encourage economic development and how you work with the mayor to economic development.
First thing that we need to do is we need to take half the funding that we give to Florida West, and we need to put that into a fund that we can use to give small micro grants to small businesses here. Think about it, as a small business owner here, we take tax money from you that you didn't get a choice about, and then we use that to go and incentivize somebody else to come and open up another shop here in town. We're going to use your taxpayer money, but then we're going to tell them, hey, you don't have to pay your full taxes for the first 10 years. That economic development model that ship has long since sailed and long since sunk. We need to take half of what we're giving to Florida West, put it into a microgrant program for small business owners who are already invested in our community. Those are the people who are actually creating jobs. You hear government talking about creating jobs, jobs, jobs. The only jobs that we can create are our own. We don't actually create jobs in the street. We create an environment where people like you can create those jobs. So why not take some of that money that we are throwing away every year with no return on investment and put that right back into the community with the people who are already risking their capital and risking each day of their lives committing to their own businesses. That's how we get that started. Now, with regard to partnering with the mayor and things, the same way we have for the last 4 years is the answer. When we had a running gun battle up on W Street, I sat down with the sheriff almost immediately and said, look, we've got to get in front of the people and talk about this. They need to know from their leadership what's going on. And we did that over in Myrtle Grove. We had a great town hall, got together, figured out a task force that started putting some real pressure on the inter-gang battles that were taking place, and we got it curtailed for a while. Is it sparking back up? Yes, it is. Again, it's not time for a victory lap yet.
What is your plan for improving the scaling of the mass transit system, Mr. Walker?
First and foremost, we need to give them our support and let them know that we're not going to cut their funding. We're going to let them work to improve the system. We're not going to arbitrarily cut routes. There may be some routes that need adjusted or cut. But we're going to let the people that have been working in it, that are trained in transportation, make those decisions. We're going to provide oversight. People that are working in that field, work with ECAT, with the unions, let them make the system as good as they can possibly make it, and then follow up with oversight and make sure that they're doing it.
We need to continue the oversight. Up until 4 years ago, there was almost no pressure and oversight on the transportation union and on the bus system to run a tight ship. And as a result, we ended up with way too many bus routes. We've got 8 bus routes that have 8 or fewer riders per hour. We've got 1 bus route that has 1 rider per hour. And I'm not sure if that's counting the bus driver, folks. We are wasting money. Okay? My plan with ECAT is to continue to do what we've been doing, and that is tighten up that belt and make sure that they're not wasting any money. If we spend $1 on mass transit, I want to get $1 worth of mass transit out of it, and we are not doing that when we're running those empty buses. We need to eliminate those routes that do not have high ridership, and we need to put additional buses onto the routes that do in fact have high ridership. See, when people have to sit and waste time at a bus station waiting for a bus that only comes once an hour, that's an hour that could be productive time, could be paid time, on the clock time, but it's not. They're sitting at a hot bus station waiting on a bus. Meanwhile, we've got other buses running empty. I brought this up to the mayor of Century. We have a bus route that runs up to Century. The ATU says it's a great thing and you got to have this. It's very important for them for their expansion that they're planning on doing. That bus route has 7 riders per hour, costs $450,000. I asked the mayor of Century, would you rather just have $450,000 that you could spend on transportation infrastructure in your city? And he said, is that really an option? Because I'm all about it. Where do I pick up the check? That is an option. We don't have to spend money on things just to say, oh, we've got this fancy, awesome bus system. If it's not efficient and it's not effective, then it is not the bus system that we deserve here in Escambia County. Now, the ATU came out and they said, Underhill's trying to shut down the bus system. I had never said I was going to shut down the bus system. But like everything else that I spend one of your dollars on, I did promise that we were going to get an oversight, a real oversight. As a result, me and my peers on the Board of County Commissioners got rid of the contractor that was milking us out of a lot of money. The for-profit guy that was running the system for us, he's gone. We brought it in-county, into the county staff, where we're running it ourselves. We looked at our insurance, and we found ways we can save money on insurance. We are running a tighter ship now on ECAT than we ever did, and it's because 4 years ago we started asking them the hard questions. And I'm saying we, not just me. Commissioner Berry's the one that was pushing really hard to make sure that that comes in-house, and he gets the credit for that. But that's what teamwork looks like. Again, not time for a victory lap on that, because we need to go ahead and implement the study that was done, the comprehensive operational analysis, decrease those routes that aren't being used, and make sure that every dollar we spend of your money, it's not my job to make them happy, the ATU. It's not my job to make the bus drivers union happy. It's my job to make sure that you are happy with how we're spending your money. We need to make sure that if I spend $1 of your money, I'm getting at least $1 of service out of it. Thank you.
Mr. Fowler, to the witness.
No one's right here. I can't address the situation. I don't know all the details. I don't want to assume he did anything wrong. So I'm not going to address your situation. But he did bring up the extra vacation. So I just want to very briefly about that. He brought up some good points in that discussion. I wasn't real comfortable with how it got passed either. I think they agreed verbally during the meeting to maintain the pedestrian right-of-way through there. And they addressed the other concerns he had. They didn't have it in writing. They should have had it in writing before they passed it. What should not have happened is the next day, Doug Emily went on social media and they accused the other commissioners, including Ruben May, of making a backroom deal, illegally deciding ahead of time what they were going to do. He had no evidence. He went on Facebook and said they committed a serious crime to the police. That's unforgivable. The project is a good project. They were acting in good faith. Maybe they should have waited another 2 weeks before they made a final decision, but they did not commit a crime.
They're actually going to close it out, and that's 2 minutes.
2 minute closing?
3 minutes closing.
3 minute closing. All right. So no, in exchange for your vote, I will not give you a piece of land that is held in public ownership. I will also promise you that in exchange for your vote, I ain't giving anybody else that deal either. And that's the way your government should work. We have a system of laws, a system of processes and procedures, and it takes courage to do those things, even in a room full of folks who think we should have done the other way. Okay? There is always going to be somebody, and I promise you, these guys don't know it, but when you're down there at the Board of County Commissioners, there's always somebody whispering in your ear wanting you to get into a great deal. Okay? We have to expect all of our developers to bring the level of rigor that we would expect out of anybody to tell us exactly what they're planning to do, because you cannot disapprove something retroactively. Once you made that approval and you vacated that property or you give it over to them, the county has no authority to put any controls on that. Okay? It's not about being popular, folks. It's not about doing the thing that makes Mr. Welcome happy with me in this room of folks who really wish that he could be happy. It's about making sure that you do the right thing all the time. And it's not about necessarily saying what people want to hear. It's about making yourself available and answering every question when it's asked. It's not enough to simply say, well, I'll just look at all the issues and then it's imperative that your commissioners understand the issues. I understand the issues. I know what I'm talking about when I vote because I owe it to you to do the hard work and do the homework. When I make a decision, you may not agree with the decision I make, but you will always understand how I came to that decision because I will tell you to your face, I will tell you right here in Brownsville, I'll give you the same answer if you need me on the and I will put the same answer on social media for all the world to see because I have absolutely nothing to hide in the way that I do your business. I do not have a right to privacy in conduct of my public office because I'm doing your work for you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We're going to have to wind it down. Again, we cannot thank you enough for coming out tonight. I have invited these gentlemen to be on my show, so I have some folks from the other.
Be successful in the military, be successful in my graduate studies at the University of West Florida. If you vote for me, Brownsville will be the #1 priority. My priorities will be inversely related to the average income in that area. Perdido Key, Seville Square, Star Lake, those people are going to get represented. If they don't like what's going on, we're going to make sure people know about it. It's the people working, the single parents, the working class people in Brownsville and Warrington and Mayfair. People are too busy to watch county commission meetings. Those are the people that need to be represented by whoever gets elected. That's going to be my priority. It's going to be my full-time job. They're going to be able to contact me anytime they want. They're going to know that. They're going to see me in their neighborhoods. They're going to get representation they haven't gotten in the last years.
Thanks to all of y'all for having us here tonight, for 2 hours of your evening. I didn't get in this race for anything to do with Commissioner Underhill. I got in the race because I had a desire to serve all of y'all. However, I've been in this race now for 18 months, and I've heard a lot that makes me now very committed to the fact that I am running against a person that I am very, very different from. I am very different from Doug Underhill. You have a clear choice, in my opinion, here. I would have answered your question totally different, Mr. Welcome. I would not say to you that I'm not going to do it for you and I won't do it for anybody else the same way. What I would rather say to you is, if you got a good case, and it sounds to me like you did on a little bit of information, I'd be happy to do it for you, and I'd be happy to do it for anybody else who has a good case just like that. I think we've got to approach our government from the point of view of we work for you. We don't work for rules and regulations and all of that. At the end of the day, it's about you, the people. I will work for you, and I will be respectful to you. I will not call my fellow commissioners liars. I didn't see that on social media, because I rarely go on social media. I'm not a social media big person. Drives my campaign person here crazy. Don't tell me loud. I am a little bit, but not much. I will be honest with you. I will work for you every day. I will tell you when I'm wrong. I will tell you when I don't know the answer, and I'll try to go get it for you. So I think you've got a clear vote choice here to make, folks. And I ask you to give me your vote on August 28th. Thank you very much.